Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to share with you a short story that I wrote that's going to tell about how a small suburb community took care of a particular annoying neighbor. Now, our story begins in a peaceful, small, and quiet suburb of London, England. Like most quiet suburbs, the citizens of this community love and care for each other very much with utmost adoration. For years, life within the suburb had had its many benefits. Not only was the small suburb quiet and peaceful and filled with love and care, but it was the most desired place to live in all of London. Until the very day that would change the history and testimony of the suburb was to come. Eventually, this fateful day did indeed come, and it brought with it much change. This particular day even happened quite recently. In fact, it happened on the 21st day of December of last year, just before the very beloved holiday known as Christmas was to take place. On this fateful day, there arrived a new addition to this community, a young man by the name of Jeramiah Keys. Now, Jeremiah Keys was a strapping young lad who loved to party. A better phrasing of this word party would be to party all night long. Jeremiah Keys would bring with him a new age that the suburb had never seen. This new age that the suburb had never seen was an age of fun, pleasure, and above all things, intoxicated madness, of which Jeremiah Keys was the ruler. This new age lasted for days, then months, and finally years, with very little show of concern from the other citizens living in the suburb. Until one man would stand up to Jeremiah Keys in his reign of mischief. Finally, the day that all the citizens of the suburb had been waiting for had come to pass. Someone was about to stand up to Jeremiah Keys in his reign of fun, pleasure, and intoxicated madness. The suburbanites had had enough of Jeremiah Keys and his tyranny of disturbance. Night after night, all that could be heard were the obnoxious sounds of speakers and subwoofers blaring with very much booming as the trance and club music filled the air. Not to mention the sounds of the guests of Jeremiah Keys' many parties, as they hooted and hollered with much excitement. All these sounds, as well as the actions and imagined actions of these party guests, had become too much for the suburbanites to handle. Finally, a man had come who was going to stand up to Mr. Keys, a man who was known very well across the entire but yet small expanse of the suburb, a man known as Mr. George Robertson. Quite frankly, Mr. Robertson, as well as the other suburbanites, had had enough of Jeremiah Keys and his partying. There had been far too many sleepless nights and interruptions of the daily lives of the suburbanites due to the loud noise coming from the property of Jeremiah Keys. This age of partying had to be stopped. Mr. Robertson was the man to stop it. On the cool night of the fateful day of the end of Mr. Keys' tyranny, a peaceful yet stoic presence of an older gentleman could be seen walking the windy, snow-covered streets towards the home of Jeremiah Keys. With much determination and fervor, George Robertson knew he had a mission to complete. As Mr. Robertson approached the frosted door of the said house of Jeremiah Keys, he took a deep breath and uttered, "This is it." George began to walk up the slick, ice-covered front stairs of the porch with a great stoic posture. Quite a large man, standing at 6'2" and looking like quite an abdominal force, Mr. Robertson, in a determined manner, knocked on the frosted door of the home of Jeremiah Keys. At first, no change within the environment of the suburb was made, until there was a very noticeable dip in the volume of the music and other noises coming from the party guests at the home of Jeremiah Keys. After the dip in the volume of the music, this is what happened next. The frosty door swung open wide, as a scrawny man of the height of about 5'2" used all his might just to budge the large, frosty wooden door. "Hello?" uttered the small, scrawny man. "Ah, yes, Mr. Keys, is it?" replied the large and stoic postured Mr. Robertson in a deeply demanding tone of voice. "That's right, that's me, geezer. What do you want?" replied the scrawny and small Jeremiah Keys. Then George Robertson said something very unexpectedly polite to the menace of the suburb. "You would please excuse me for this interruption. I'm George Robertson, and I just ask that you would please turn down your noise that is coming from your estate. You could do that, the other citizens of this fine community and I would be very grateful. We don't want to put an end to your fun or anything like that. Just a little less noise would be appreciated," said Mr. Robertson. Then came the reply from Jeremiah Keys. "Geezer, first of all, it puts me through an awful lot of pain when idiots like you come knocking on my damn door. Tell me to turn my noise down. This isn't noise, sir. This is freaking hardstyle club music. Matter of fact, hardstyle is my favorite type of music.
So piss off, you wanker.
Then George came back with a surprisingly aggressive statement.
First of all, you wanker, it gives me a headache when idiots like you come into our peaceful community that we have here, partying and living it up almost every freaking night of the damn week. And yes, it is noise. I don't give a damn what it's called. And I don't give a damn if it's your favorite type of freaking music. Just turn that flustering, inconceivable noise down.
Then, this is what Jeremiah Keys said.
So it's the same things that I keep hearing over and over again. If my neighbors don't complain about the volume of my music, it's the damn media and authorities tell me that the music that I play at my parties, in my very own house, mind you, is bringing around the wrong crowd. Then they even tell me that this particular crowd is making drug use at such parties as mine more popular. Those numbskulls just don't understand what it means to be clubbing at late night raves. So let me tell you this, stuck-up pricks of society. Not everybody listens to smooth jazz and classical music. When my generation parties, we do it hard. People can say what they want, but what's actually happening here is actually happening. And you in particular of all people, Mr. Robertson, know this is true. So just let me listen to my freaking music.
Well, lad, stated Mr. Robertson with great anger, if you're going to act like that. Before John could finish his statement, Jeremiah began to speak again.
You know what? I'm sick of people like you always complaining about this music and the way I want to live my life. My freaking life, I tell you. I can't believe there's arrogant people like you telling me that my nightlife is to come to an end. Police are closing clubs at 3 instead of 5, 6, and 7, and not even considering my after party on Sunday morning. I'm going to get, and I want to get messed up before the sun goes down. Don't try to freak on or isolate me, and let me just escape from reality. There isn't anyone who can tell me what or what not to do. So screw you.
Then, without saying another word, Mr. Robertson's eyes became red with anger. He then proceeded to walk towards Jeremiah Keys.
What are you doing? Stop!
Said Jeremiah, in a terrified tone. Then George scooped Jeremiah clean off the icy deck.
Somebody! Help!
Before Jeremiah Keys could utter another word, George Robertson, with the rage and strength of an enraged Viking, tossed Mr. Keys into the glaze-covered street filled with oncoming traffic, with what appeared to be very little effort at all. After that night, Mr. Robertson or Mr. Keys were never heard from again. Days, months, and then years passed. Throughout all this time, there were no signs of George Robertson or Jeremiah Keys. Truthfully, nobody knows where either of the two went or what happened to them. Some made rumors that they killed each other. Others made the assumption that for some reason they both got arrested. Nobody truly knew what had happened to Jeremiah Keys and George Robertson. To this very day, it is still a mystery. Nobody truly knows what happened to either man on that fateful night.